Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Crompton. I am the president and CEO, just getting things set up here a little bit so that we've got a better, there we go. Okay. My name is Rita Crompton, and I am the president and CEO of Archimedes Offspring. Today, our topic is we're diving a little bit deeper into AOS and what people are looking for. I get a lot of questions about, why licensing? So let's kind of break that down just a little bit. The inventors, when they're coming to me, I met a young man today, and he had a very niche idea, but it's a busy field. All right. And it could make a difference for, missed that setting. All right. And so it could make a difference for him to be able to license his intellectual property. So as we got started talking, and I was asking him some questions, and he said that, he was thinking about being a startup. And by all means, that's fine if you've got the wherewithal to do that and the skill set. But when I started asking him questions, he was, maybe not. So let's break it down. If you're going to be a startup, right, you need about $250,000 of disposable income. Well, at that point, it got his eyes real big and said, well, maybe not. You've got to be an expert in running a business. You've got to be an expert at manufacturing, and you've got to be an expert at marketing. And he goes, I think I'll keep my day job. So when we start breaking it down, there's so much money and energy and expertise that goes into being a startup in order for it to be successful. So with Archimedes Offspring, and this is where we start talking as his mentor, and I'm saying, you might want to take a look at some of these options. And when you need some help, you can ask for it. You can say, all right, what's my next step? So we backed him up just a little bit. He had filed a provisional patent application, had a registered patent attorney do it. That was all good. The missing step, though, was a comprehensive search. So he's going to back up and get that comprehensive search done. And then when we start looking at licensing, and he goes, well, it wouldn't take me very much money to be able to make this myself. And I said, you do realize that the number one problem you will have has nothing to do with money. And he goes, no, I thought it always had to do with money. And I said, placement. When you license that intellectual property, right, when you've used AOS as your mentor and your funding mechanism to help get money in to pay for those steps, and then you get ready to go out the door and license it, placement is the number one issue. And a good, legitimate licensee, that's what they do. That's what they're experts at. All right. They help place the product. They already have the buyers. They already have shelf space at the store. And so when an inventor is saying, well, I've got funding available to me, I've got partners who are going to help pay for it. Well, unless you've got that Home Depot connection or the Target connection or the toy store connection, unless you actually have that connection, you're not going to get in. And I told him, I said, all right, so let's say, for instance, you have the connection. Right? Most inventors who get those one-on-one contracts, if it's even possible with a big box store, and let's face it, you're not going to make any money selling them one or two at a time off your website. It just doesn't work that way. So unless you've got, that connection, but let's say you get in, you could sell 50,000 units. And at the end of 120 days, they send you back any inventory that they have left over and expect you to either buy it back or just take it back. And then they send you an invoice. That's right. They don't send you a check. They're going to send you an invoice because they know the game. They know the way it's played. All right. It was packed wrong. The UPC code was not in the right spot. The pallet wasn't packed right. You didn't have the right colors on the box that we asked for. Any number of things that they could ask you to do, all right, and then claim you did it wrong. So literally, you could get anything back that they didn't sell. And the big box stores, in case you didn't realize, are consignment shops. They didn't purchase anything. They're just going to ship it back to you, and then they're going to send you an invoice for what you didn't do right. They are your worst nightmare. Now, let's say you get a licensee that's already one of their suppliers. They know how to deal with it. They do it. They're going to make it. They're going to box it the right way. They're going to put it on that shelf space, and they send you a, all right, you go to the bank and make a deposit. So when we go through the mentoring part of Archimedes Offspring, a lot of it is to help you understand the reality of getting a product into the marketplace. Right? When you license it, somebody else does the heavy lifting. They're going to do the manufacturing. Right? They're going to do, they know what kind of packaging. I've had inventors that I've got 25,000 clamshells in my basement because none of the stores wanted that. And I didn't know. The licensees know. All right. They know different stores can ask for different things. So when I was talking to an inventor this morning, and we're right in the middle of negotiating a licensing deal. And he goes, well, you know, I've never really heard of this company. I don't really know where they're supplying to. All over the world? How about that? He goes, really? You need to keep in mind that a lot of times suppliers, the example I frequently use is if you're in an airport, you don't see the luggage handlers. They're working at a level that you're not allowed to go on. But isn't it wonderful when your bag drops down onto that carousel? Well, it's similar in the supplier industry. We don't always see the names of those companies. We don't always recognize it. It might be on the box in fine print. They're the ones that are doing the heavy lifting. They're the ones that get our product onto the carousel for us. All right. We need them. And when you license it, that's who you're licensing to a supplier. They're getting everything done, everything teed up. And yes, they're sending a check for 5% of wholesale, you know, and you get to go to the bank. They're sending you money and they've done all the heavy lifting. You get to go to the bank. So you may not be able to, you know, that inventor business plan that we talk about of have idea, get patent, make money, buy island. You might not be buying an island, but you'll be able to go on a nice vacation. That's the reality check. No fantasy land, no buying the island. All right. And a lot of times for inventors being that startup, that's fantasy land too. All right. Let's do the reality check. License it. Go to the bank. All right. It takes time. We're going to talk more about the process of Archimedes Offspring this week. But the big thing here to keep in mind is that when we look at licensing as being an option, all right, it's a really important option to not overlook. Now, with Archimedes Offspring, we might be able to sell. There's inventors that are able to sell their intellectual property. Certainly an option. If we get it teed up and you really are that super startup, by all means, there's an option to go that route. But for most inventors, licensing where somebody else is doing the heavy lifting, getting you out the door and sending a check, that's where we want to get money in the bank. My name is Rita Crompton. I am the president and CEO of Archimedes Offspring. I am happy to speak to you today, and I'll be back tomorrow.